Okay, we talked about the definitions. We talked about the importance of getting the definitions right. We talked about the failure of Joseph McCarthy because he didn't get the definitions right. And that's where they got him. That's where he got sidetracked. What is a communist? What is a socialist? What is a Bolshevik? What are the differences? Do they exist? Or are they figments of our imagination? Are figments? Or they were just words that were created that have no meaning? The important thing to remember is that we got to get this right because the country is at stake, and we're being not misled, but we're not being properly led by the right wing media. I'm all for the right wing media. They've informed us very well. I'm not criticizing them from that perspective. They've done very well, but they're not telling us what to do. They're not giving us direction. Rush, Hannity, uh, um, you can go down the list. Actually, but these new news organizations that are coming out, the Next News Network, these guys, they're not telling us what to do. All they're telling us is what exists. We already know. I mean, how many more affidavits do we need? How much more evidence do we need? Well, we're getting it every day, and nothing's happening. Why? It's clickbait, basically, is what it is. The walls are not closing on Hillary. Okay, they're not closing on anybody except for Trump. So something's wrong. So we have to deal with this. We need a plan. Mark Levin, who part of the right wing media group, who was the only individual in my experience, who's actually giving us some real direction in what he called the conventions of the states. He talked about people coming together and forming constitutional conventions in the states for the purposes of protecting and watching over our Constitution and being prepared in the event that we have to intervene and stop the people from taking over the country through the courts and through rewriting or destroying the Constitution itself. However, that was impractical. Very hard for people to get together and form these conventions because they're very tedious, and for the most part, it was all part of the old Tea Party movement, which was good in its time, but again, no real clear leadership emerged. What Donald Trump pulled off was amazing. It was unbelievable. He created one of the great political movements of all time, in all of history. And this will go down in history. However, in the end, he was defeated by the fact they did not have control over the bureaucracy. He didn't have the people he thought he did, because Republicans controlled a lot of the state houses and a lot of the states, and he thought that they had his back. They didn't. They just stood down. They didn't do anything. They didn't fight. They weren't ready to fight, or they themselves were misinformed and did not fight and stood down, probably at the bequest of their donors and of their support system. So they did not fight back with Trump, and as a result, he couldn't pull off he couldn't secure the election that he needed to secure, and with the help of their lack of effort, the Democrats were able to come in and change the election outcome in a way that it was not proper. It was not constitutional, and no one wants to hear no one wants to hear it. No court wants to take it. No state legislator wants to investigate. There's some investigations going on, Maricopa County. Yeah, okay. Then they say, well, you may not like the results. They're not going to investigate it, guys. Okay. First of all, they're going to look stupid. They're going to admit that they were really stupid, and they don't want to do that. So they're not going to investigate. They were snookered, and we were all snookered. So don't feel bad. So the bottom line is, what do? We need a process. We need a plan. Now, you can't go to Hannity and ask him. He's not going to be able to tell you. You can't go to Rush. God bless him. He can't tell you. Nobody can tell us what to do. No one has any knowledge or any intelligence as how do we do it. Going to MAGA rallies and parading in the streets is a great thing. It shows that we have a great number of people in our camp. Yes, 74 million and more than that. I got news for you. That's a low number. But here's the problem. What do you do with all that? It didn't change the election, did it? Parading in the streets doesn't get you elections, doesn't win elections for you. The voting does. That's where the power is in the vote itself, in the counting of the votes. We know that now. We always did know that, but we just didn't see that as a problem until now. Now we realize, oh, we screwed up big time. And Trump is now neutralized. He's not down. He's not out. He's been neutralized in this round, in this battle, because he did not have the troops behind him. He was out there by himself. Incredible leader. But even Trump, in the end, did not give us really good information as to how to support him. He probably didn't think that there was a problem, but we know there is now. So what needs to be done? The first thing we need to do is we need to go where the power is. And right now the power is in the Republican Party. Our Republican Party is not in our camp. They're not Trump supporters. They're never Trumpers. Hate to tell you, they're never Trumpers. They don't like Trump. They let the Democrats go in and do what they did and did not decide to stop them or to investigate them. Okay? They allowed it. They have their reasons. I don't know what those reasons are, but I'm sure it has a lot to do with doing business with China. And I think a lot of people are making lots of money with China, and they don't want that to go away. Okay? I hate to tell you, but that's the way it is. And if we want to allow that to continue, then we'll allow that to continue. Allow Joe Biden to go in and give it all back to China, fine. If that's what you want, fine. Sit back and do nothing. But if you want to stop it, the place to stop it is in the county GOP organizations. You got to get your MAGA hats and get your MAGA. Don't even go there with your hats. Just go there. Get to these local GOP county organizations and start taking them over. Don't go in there with any kind of attitude. Don't go in there with any kind of a revolutionary spirit or yelling or screaming. Don't do any of that stuff. Be respectful. Follow the procedures. Learn the procedures. Learn how to get your petition signed. Learn how to promote the right kind of leaders and pick the right kind of leaders. Get them on the ballots. Get them voted in so we can support them. Don't go in there. We're not going to primary anybody. Okay, I don't want to hear that anymore. But the primary, we're going to primary. Let them primary us. They have to come after. We have 74 million people. What do they have? They have knowledge of how to get the candidate on the ballot. It's very simple. They put a neocon or a rhino on the ballot, and we think they're Republican. They think they're Republican. They're not. They're not. They don't have any political knowledge or any political leadership in their bones. That's what they pick. They pick people who are not leaders, and we know who the leaders are. We got to find them. And people tell me, well, they won't run. No one wants to run anymore. They're scared. They're not scared. They're just smart. They know they're not going to run in an election, for which the legislators and the government's not going to back them up. I don't want to hear about the deep state. I'm getting tired of hearing about the deep state. The deep state didn't do Trump in. The regular state did him in. They could have stopped them. We pick the leaders who pick the heads of the CIA and the heads of the FBI. We pick them. We put them in power, and they pick these people, and they say, we're going to do it this way because we're making money. Our kids are going to the Ivy League institutions. We have big houses and mortgages that have to be paid, and we need to have the people that are supporting us, that are giving us money and promulgating us and supporting us. We need them to make money, and they need to make money with China. So whatever they're doing, we're going to let them do it. And Trump's in the way. Trump's stopping all that. It's a very simple problem. That's where the issue is. You have to get your butts down to the local GOP organizations in the counties and start picking our leaders, real leaders, not these. Some of them are good people. I shouldn't call them. Look, I consider myself to be 3/4 of neocon. I believe in a lot of things they believe in. I believe in protecting Israel. I believe in all these that America is an important force for peace and freedom throughout the whole world. But I'm not a neocon in the sense that the way some of these neocons operate, in the shadows, darkly, making money, as we talked about in the previous videos. The transcendental capitalists, the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks are being funded by the rich. It's not the grassroots. And no Che Guevara's out there. The rich people are supporting Bolshevikism because it's making money for them as transcendental capitalists. And they're picking leaders that will stand down in a crisis and not do anything to continue the system to operate the way it is. And we have to go down there and straighten this Republican Party out, starting with the GOP. I'm in a county. I happen to be in a very historic county, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Do you know what Delaware County, Pennsylvania was? It was the first sitting GOP organization in America. It was founded during the Lincoln administration. You know what it was founded as? An anti-slave party. Anti-slave party. And guess who the slave owners were? The Democrats. We've come full circle here, okay? And now we have to get to work. And we have to start this all over again. And get to the county level, get to these county levels, and remove them. I'm not saying kick them out. Remove them from power. We'll pick our leaders. We'll pick people who can go out there and fight. We know who they are. Those who have stuck it out this far, we have to start with them, and then we have to find new ones to get rid of the ones that did not stand down, that stood down, that did not fight, and that they're worried about their little political jobs, or worried about that we don't have time for that anymore, okay? And we're going to have to do this the right way. So MAGA people, get out there and do something that's going to actually win elections, and not run around with flags and all that stuff. That's fine. That's all good. Signs on the front lawn. That's fine if you think that's going to be a help, but it's not really. It's going to be hard work. Learn the process. Do it right, legally. Get your petition signed. When you go door to door, check your local ordinances. Don't be on people's door if it's not allowed in your area. Do it the right way. And if you want to go out there and make a lot of noise and wave flags, fine, that's good. But you got to take control. We got to pick our own leaders, and we can't allow the people that are in there right now picking leaders for us. And I don't want to hear any more about the deep state. I don't want to hear any more about communists. I don't hear any more about socialists. We have to win elections. And we have to put leaders in positions of power that will protect our election system. That's where they got us. That's the new border wall. The new border wall is the election process. Okay, so Trump uncovered two problems. One's the southern border, and the other one is the ballot box. That's where they're attacking us now. So it's up to you guys. If you want to do it, let's do it. If you don't want to do it, then it's not going to happen. And we'll just keep going down this road, and we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to be a good outcome. But be that as it may, you got an idea. That's a real idea. See how that goes.